Hope, hope you're having a wonderful start to your day or had a wonderful day today. So we are at a conjecture where we are talking about the personal form of God. And today, as part of that discussion, we will be talking about why does God take on an avatar? Does he really have to take? And check out the reason that he gives in Bhagavad Gita for the reason for him taking on an avatar. Also, today we will get a little nostalgic, I'm sure. We will have present something that will make you go nostalgic. Okay, so we'll talk about that as well. So let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, like we always do. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and we will get underway. Share my sound, share it. That's it. Are you able to see it?
G. Yes, we can.
Great. Awesome. Wonderful. So let me get underway then. All right. We can start with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, a very warm welcome to all of you. Let's get started. Like I said, today I picked up a shloka that all of you can relate to. You would have heard it a lot of times during your childhood or probably in your earlier years, I should say. So let's get started. So I picked up 2 shlokas from chapter 7. We're going to recite it and then you're welcome to follow along. First one is Yada yada hi dharmasya Glanirбhavati Bharata Abhyuttanamadharmasya Tadatmanam Srijamyaham. All right, let's have some participants who can recite it.
Sam, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Sam.
Radhe Radhe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham.
Wonderful.
Radhe Radhe.
Nice, Sam. Okay,
Sandhya.
who's next?
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Sandhya.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Wonderful, very nice. Let's take one more hand and then we'll move on to the next one.
Payal ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Payalji, maybe a couple of hands we can take.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्.
Wonderful.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, maybe a couple more hands on this one.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham. Radhe Radhe.
Wonderful. Maybe one more hand.
Dinesh ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham.
Wonderful. Remaining hands we'll pick up on the next one. It's pretty popular shloka while growing up. I'm sure you would have this resonates with the serial that we have seen, Mahabharata, right? That's why I said you'll feel a little nostalgic looking at this shloka. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, he's giving a reason for his dissension. Okay, that is what we're going to look at today. So what he's saying is, whenever there is a decline in righteousness and an increase in unrighteousness, O Arjun, at that time I manifest myself on earth. Then furthermore, he goes on to add, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So we can take a few more hands who haven't gotten an opportunity as yet.
सुनीता जी राधे राधे.
राधे राधे.
Smita ji.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe, very nice, Sunita ji. Thank you. I would encourage all the participants to recite it at their own place, of course, with their mute on. It's very good to recite Bhagavad Gita shlokas. Okay, let's pick up a few more hands on this one.
तरुण जी राधे राधे.
राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. राधे राधे.
Wonderful, very nice. Thank you, Tarunji. Okay, quite a few hands. Let's quickly take.
लक्ष्मण जी राधे राधे.
Radhe Lakshmi ji.
राधे 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 राधे. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतं धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Wonderful. Next one.
रूपा जी राधे राधे.
Rupa ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Paritranaaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Wonderful, very nice. I think Riya ji and Pragi ji didn't get a chance yesterday, so we can take them, although we would have preferred to have your videos on, but please go ahead.
उदय जी राधे राधे.
राधे राधे. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. राधे राधे.
Very nice, thank you. We can cover a few.
राधे राधे.
Yeah, thank you. Radhe Radhe. Paritranaaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharmanathaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Very nice, Pragi ji. You simulated by Mahendra Kapoor. Thank you very much. Let's go on. Okay.
रिया जी राधे राधे.
राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Riya ji.
परित्राणाय साधूनां
Can we please?
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Thank you, Riya ji. Okay, let's take the last three hands and then no more. Let's freeze it real quick.
तन्मय जी राधे राधे.
Tanmay ji, real quick.
राधे राधे. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Very nice, Tanmay ji. Radhe Radhe. Last two.
रमेश जी राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Ramesh ji.
राधे राधे. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ramesh ji. Last but not the least, Lakshmi ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe everyone. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Wonderful.
you,
So
Radhe.
in this one, Lord Krishna goes on to add that to protect the righteous, to annihilate the wicked, and to reestablish the principles of dharma, I appear on this earth age after age. So let's move on. Let me give you a nostalgic moment that I was talking about.
सिंह भाई आवाज नहीं आ रही है सिंह भाई
Is audio not coming?
not coming. It's not there.
Okay, never mind. If it didn't come, then I think we'll have to move on because we have spent a lot of time here. So let's move on. Let's move on with this one. I thought the audio should have been coming. Let me try once more. Otherwise, I'll proceed with our topic of our discussion. Share sound. Do it again. Share. Is it coming now? Is it coming now?
सिंह भाई नहीं.
I don't know what's going on. Never mind. So let's move on. So let's get started. This is what we're going to talk about. That what is the motive behind God's dissension? God has given a couple of reasons here in these shlokas as to why he takes on a form. Okay, and that's what we are going to talk about today. Before we get started, what's going on here? Okay, let's get the thought process going a little bit. Anybody, real quick? Chintu is reading a book. And there was a question and Chintu solved the equation. 6 cut it by 6 and 4 came. Boom. Okay, you got it right. What's going on? So the point here is that if we try to read scriptures on our own, these kind of mistakes can happen. So it's better to take guidance from a realized saint or a guru. Even to understand physics and other principles, we needed a guru. And in this path, it is even more important to understand the principles, because if you go to apply your own brains and intellect around it, it's like trying to lift yourself through a bootlace. A lot of things will not make sense. And by fluke, if you get something right, and then it can lead to these kind of erroneous mistakes, erroneous deductions. Now, which one would you prefer? This one or this one? Anybody who wants to prefer on the one on the left hand side or the right hand side? Okay, I found this pretty interesting, so I thought I'll bring it to today's session. So, right, this is life without Bhagavad Gita, without a manual, and this is life with Bhagavad Gita. So you should consider ourselves very lucky that we have some kind of a clear vision where we don't have to second guess ourselves regarding anything and everything on life, right? People second guess, is it right, is it wrong, should I be doing this, fear of missing out, all that stuff. Everything becomes absolutely clear, and we can approach with a lot of certainty, assurance, and confidence. That is the power of Bhagavad Gita, right? And Bhagavad Gita is not a retirement plan. It is a manual for everyday living. It's not something that we pick up when we are approaching retirement or post-retirement, as a lot of people, their mind gives them this excuse. So, but we should consider ourselves extremely lucky and fortunate that we are getting to read this wonderful scripture on a daily basis, thanks to Swamiji and Maharajji, who has enabled this platform for us. So you can pinch for yourself, because you are one of the very few selected ones, okay, out of 7 billion people who get this satsang every day. Okay, nevertheless, let's get started. So we have spoken about God manifestation in 3 forms. We spoke about the Brahman, the formless aspect, then the Paramatma aspect, and the Bhagwan. Bhagwan is what we are discussing right now, which is the personal manifestation of God that descends on that earth. And today we are going to talk about what is the motive for God to descend on the earth. And God can exist simultaneously everywhere in our heart and can take on an avatar. Okay, we can't limit God. That is why God is God, right? And his Yogamaya Shakti enables it. And this is the beautiful verse from Bhakti Shatak that we took our reference from. You know what it says? It says, Sarva Shakti Prakatya Ho Leela Vivid Prakar Vihirat parikar sang jo tehi bhagavan pukar. The form of God in whom every divine power is fully manifested, whose all beautiful divine form has unlimited names and virtues, and who's always performing all loving leelas with his intimate divine associates, and his divine abode is Bhagwan Krishna. Is referred to as Bhagwan. He's not referred to as Paramatma or Brahman. Okay. Saguna Sakar Brahman is Krishna. Right? Big yogis who try to find him in their trance or in their samadhis, when they sit down like this, that okay, he should enter our samadhi, he doesn't care to. Even after thousands of years of austerity, penances, and tapasya. But the same Purna Purushottam Brahman, right? He not only enters the courtyard of Yashoda, but chooses to get tied by her, and is willing to dance to the tune of gopis as well. What is enabling it? Love. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tas tathaiva bhajamyaham. He follows Newton's law to the letter T. He says, okay, Newton said to every action there's equal and opposite reaction. I will follow that as well, because the reciprocation principle is that whatever sentiment we think about God, to the same extent, at the same time, and exactly in the same sentiment, he has to reciprocate. So every tear that you shed for God doesn't get wasted. He's obliged to shed it back for you. That is the power of love. Now let's move on. We talk about the topics. Now reasons for God's dissension. This is what we're going to talk about today. So he starts to establish dharma. Now, establish dharma, and I'll talk about it. Now, really, let's look at it. Let's critique it. Okay, I'm no one to critique it, but let's critique it based on the reasoning that God is presenting. He's saying dharma is eternally described in the Vedas. God can re-establish it through a saint. He does not need to descend himself in his personal form to accomplish it, right? He can do it via a saint, like he has done in history. Right? There are so many avatars of God who have come down, starting with Shankaracharya. Even Buddha is considered an avatar of God. Then Shankaracharya ji came, then Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. They all are descensions of God. Right? So why does he have to descend himself to get this accomplished? The real reason is that God descends to establish the dharma of devotion. Okay, the dharma of devotion, by providing souls with his names, forms, pastimes, virtues, abodes, and associates, with the help of which they may engage in bhakti and purify their minds. Just think of it, if God's avatar had not taken place, would we have any basis to relate to God? Yes, Andhya, you had a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. Is avatar form of God as a saint different from his descension as like Bhagwan?
So we will talk about this topic of the Swansh, Vibhinansh. That's a topic in itself. Okay. Now, technically, a saint, a God-realized saint, has all the powers of God. Okay. However, when God chooses to come as a saint, it can happen. That is called an avatari. And when God chooses to come in Krishna or Ram form, right, as a Sagun Sakar Brahma form, the purpose of that descension might be different. So depending upon what he's choosing to do at that particular time, place, the end of the manifestations would vary, right? Saints come, they don't display the pastimes, they simply establish the Vedic knowledge or the Sanatan Dharma, right? When God descends, he engages in a lot of other activities as well. And the names, forms, virtues, pastimes, and all that stuff, killing demons and all the stuff that he do. So it really depends on what is the purpose God is trying to establish at a particular point in time. Saints can also be God himself. There are avataris that happen from time to time. We spoke about that topic in the past. Maybe we can bring it up again. So saints can also be of different categories, right? We have Swansh, we have Vibhinansh. Within Vibhinansh, you have Nityasid, you have Nityabad. Within Swansh, are you manifesting? God might be manifesting with his full glories, or he might be hiding some of those. So that categorization can happen, but technically, all are same. They have the complete power of God. So they are Yogamaya Yukt at that point. When they are Yogamaya Yukt, there are two possibilities. Either they are governing the Yogamaya, or Yogamaya is basically anyway subservient to them. Those possibilities are there. Those are finer details, but a saint, a God-realized saint and God are essentially the same. There's absolutely no difference between them. God has given all the powers to them. Other than
Yes.
the dirty job of bookkeeping, but you look at it, saints, they don't display leelas and all that stuff, right? Typically. Like God does. But technically, there is no difference between them. So if God has not taken on, sorry, you had a follow-up question?
Just quickly, I wanted to ask with respect to Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, the avatari saints as well as Bhagwan in his full glory will both be categorized as Bhagwan, is what basically I was asking.
As Bhagwan is basically when he manifests all his glory. So yeah, Bhagwan, actually, if you look at it, saint is also a Bhagwan in that sense, right? So the devotee's purpose is served by worshipping a saint also. They don't need to limit themselves to, both the purpose. We'll get back to, we have some stuff to cover. So please hold off, Sam and Tanmeji. So that is one. The second part was the reason that God has given to annihilate the wicked, right? To annihilate the wicked. So let's look at this aspect seriously, because God is all powerful and can kill the wicked merely by wishing it. He's called Satya Sankalpa as well. Why does he have to take an avatar to accomplish this, right? It's like you are building a nuclear missile to kill a mosquito. Taking an avatar, going through the grind, doing so many stuff and doing all the leelas, and then even his own brother is getting, Murchit, Lakshman, that happened to him. All those things that God does. Why is he doing that? If you go technically, he's the super soul. Super soul can simply leave and the demon is dead. He doesn't have to do all those things. Doesn't even have to release his Sudarshan Chakra for that matter. He desires and demon is killed. Done deal. Now, the real reason for that is, along with God, to help facilitate his divine pastime, some liberated saints descend and pretend to be miscreants. Okay, they play along. They play as miscreants. They are not ordinary people who can challenge God in his pastimes, like Ravan, Kumbhakaran, Kans, Shishupal. They were not ordinary people. Right? Ravan and Kumbhakaran were Jay and Vijay, who descended from the divine abode of God. So they were already liberated people. So they were given a choice when they were cursed by Kumars. They did not let them enter to meet Narayan. So they were cursed. They were given two options: either to take on a form of a saint, descend as a saint for 7 lifetimes, or descend as demons for 3 lifetimes in Mrityulok. So they put a condition: we will come, but God, you will also have to come alongside us. They said, fine, and they chose the 3. They said, anyway, there's so much of problem going on in Earth right now, right? So much of global warming, COVID, and all kind of issues. So we would restrict ourselves to 3 lifetimes only. So they came as demons during the avatar kal of God himself, right? I think there were 3 avatars: Dhanvantar, Shishupal, Ravan, Kumbhakaran, and then I think Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashyap. Okay, Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashyap, 3 avatars that happened for these. So those are the ones basically who come along with God. So that is the second part. The third one, and they pretended to be demons and opposed and fought with Ram. They could not have been killed by anybody else because they are divine personalities. So God slayed such demons as part of his Leelas. And having killed them, they are again sent back to his divine abode. This is because that is where they came from. They were not ordinary souls to begin with. And the third reason that God is giving is what is the reason? To protect the righteous. Now, what's the real reason? To protect the righteous, he's seated in form of Paramatma in the heart of devotees, right? God is seated. There is no need to take an avatar for this person, and he can always protect them from within. In fact, the Yogakshem aspect of in even Bhagavad Gita, when Lord is talking, he can preserve and protect from within. He doesn't have to take on an avatar and do that, right? So basically, the real reason for that is many souls, they become sufficiently elevated in their sadhana, spiritual practice, to qualify to meet God face to face. It's a pretty interesting concept. So let's say you have perfected, you are on the tipping point of God realization. Then as part of dry run, to perfect that 99.99999, you are there. And that 0.01 that you need to add, God will give you a dry run or a simulation in his pastime. Because after participating with God in his pastime, you perfect it and go to his divine abode at aftertime. Right? Some of the gopis, the cowherd women of Vrindavan, they were liberated souls who had descended from divine abode to assist Lord Krishna's Leelas. And some of the eligible souls, they got their first opportunity to participate in God's divine pastimes. So that is the reason when God comes to help his devotees, give them a taste of that nectar and help them perfect their devotion. And then finally, they get the fructification of their devotion happens. And that is another reason why God takes on an avatar. So yes, for metaphorical purpose, God basically is saying, but only a Rasik saint can tell you the deeper secret behind it. God really doesn't have to do all that stuff, although he's stated that here in Bhagavad Gita, but these are the reasons why he descends. Now let's look at it through some examples here. Ramayana says, if you look at Ramayana says that in this descension period, Lord Ram helped only one Ahilya, which is Sage Gautam's wife, whom Lord Ram released from the body of stone. We know that. Now, if you look at it, he was there in that avatar kal for about 11,000 years. So one soul in 11,000 years, 0.00000. I mean, is that the success rate of God? Is that what he came there for? I mean, either he was not good in mathematics or was he just miscalculated this whole thing. Just one soul in 11,000 years. Right? However, if you look at it, since then, because of his avatar, billions of souls, they have elevated themselves just by reciting the name of Ram, okay, by practicing devotion to Ram. That is the power of God's avatar. Would it have been possible if he had not taken on an avatar? No. That is why God takes on an avatar, because they say that Ram se bada Ram ka naam, because Ram comes and goes. He closes his pastimes. But after Ram is long gone, people have uplifted and transformed their lives just by thinking about Ram, practicing devotion to Ram, reading Ramcharitmanas with devotion and just practicing devotion, because there is so much of basis that is provided to them. And even since the descension of Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago, billions of souls have made his divine leelas as the basis of their devotion, right? How with such frolic and devotion we celebrate Janmashtami and so many other leelas of God, and so many people, it gives them a basis, beautiful basis for devotion. And as part of immersing in that devotion, their mind gets purified and they take the benefit of it. If Lord had not displayed his pastimes or leelas, like running away from the battlefield or stealing butter or playing with the Yashoda Maiya, then how would our mind gotten absorbed in God? These are the leelas which give a lot of ras and variety to our mind. And God says, whether you think about his name, Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela, Dham, Parikar, all will give you the same result. So it's given you so much of variety. Variety is the spice of life. God understands that. And that spice is created through his avatar kal. Right? So many leelas he does. Fascinating leelas he's done. That is the reason why God takes on an avatar. Now, if it would continue to be a formless Brahman, what is the basis of devotion? You'll just keep thinking about a light. Thinking about a light and light and light and light, and that's about it, right? So it becomes nearest beyond a point. And also, God does understand, right? He's given so many leelas, right? There are 4 Madhuris, especially in Krishna avatar: Roop Madhuri, Bal Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and his Murli Madhuri. These 4 are present only in the avatar kal of Lord Krishna only. And that is why it becomes easy for us to take our mind to the beautiful enchanting form of Lord Krishna. Okay, although all gods are same, but it becomes easy for us because it's a sweet form. It naturally captivates your mind. Krishna anyway means all attractive. So that is the reason. Now, even similarly, the Ramayana has provided the souls with a popular basis for devotion. Now, if you remember the serial Ramayana, you've seen that? When this TV show became, the Ramayana people, there would be a complete shutdown in the country. I remember once I was traveling and I was be like, okay, I have to make it before the serial starts. You cannot miss an episode. Those days we didn't have the benefit of cable where we could see that, rewind that, record that, all that stuff. So people would be crazy. And certain, what do you call that? Bijli Ghar, they call that, right? Electric, where they provide that. And there was an incident, it was burnt because they could not provide electricity on time. That much passion people would bring in, right? Why? And even, the streets of India, they would become empty. And even during the COVID time, I heard when this serial came back again, I think Mr. Narendra Modi, he started that. Again, it broke all the records. So there is a fascination. The pastimes, they hold such fascination for people that they are glued to their television sets to see the Leelas on the screen. That is the power of God's Leelas, or the pastimes that he performs during his avatar Kala. We see that, right? People just become totally immersed in it. Okay, what's going to happen? Even though they know the story, they still want to see it. So beautiful it is. Do you feel such fascination watching any movie? You will not, because that material rust keeps on diminishing. But spiritual rust is, it keeps on sweetening with time. That is the difference between material rust and spiritual rust. It just starts becoming sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. When Lord Ram had asked, sage Valmiki, where should I reside? He said, reside in the heart of a devotee whose ears are like ocean, which can devour, all the leelas and pastimes, and they don't get satiated. They keep on devouring it. And Lord Krishna has also said in Bhagavad Gita that people, they love glorifying me, they love talking about me. And you would imagine, when you start with spirituality, you start getting that initial euphoric feeling, you just feel like talking about God with everyone and anyone, right? It happens. And that is the power in God's leelas and his name. And this is, if we had no basis for devotion, such as these leelas or the avatars that God had taken, then it would have become a very insipid path. So many people would have probably, they wouldn't have found that much of nectar and taste on this path at that point. So that is the power of God's leelas, and that is the reason why he descends in his personal form. So you can only imagine the bliss that a soul would get when you actually get to interact and serve God, right? Right now we are doing it vicariously, indirectly. It's more of a simulation in your head, even when you do Rup Dhyan. But when you actually try to get to interact, one can only imagine what that bliss would be like. Okay. Now, let's try to capture some key points here. So the biggest dharma that the soul can engage is in devotion. Okay, that is devotion to God. This is the biggest dharma. There is no dharma bigger than that, right? A lot of people give this dope. This is your dharma. This is your dharma as a the biggest dharma is devotion to God for human beings. Very simple. Dharma can be categorized in two categories broadly. One is paradharma, one is aparadharma. Right? Paradharma is the dharma of the soul. Aparadharma is the dharma of the body. If we are situated at the platform of a body, then aparadharma is applicable to us, varnashram dharma and all that stuff. But once you start building a connect with God and start getting into bhakti, then other dharmas can take a back seat. Paradharma supersedes everything, nothing, right? Whenever there's a conflict between doing a duty for God or duty for anybody, whoever that might be in your family or anybody, then duty to God takes a precedence, provided you are doing it dutifully and beautifully, of course. So the biggest dharma that the soul can engage in is engage in devotion to God. There is no higher dharma than that for any soul. And that is the whole purpose actually of creation. Now that is what God strengthens. Now this dharma, he is giving us the basis and he's strengthening it by taking an avatar, by revealing his divine form, names, virtues, pastime, abodes, and associates. Now, if not for his avatars or his pastime, how would we even know what is God's nature? What does he like? How can we build a personal connect with him? And scriptures even go to the extent of giving you a formula to enslave him. If he had not taken an avatar, Kal, how would we know about it? So that is the power of God's avatar. And that is why these, formless Brahman, he descends, he takes on a form and comes down and interacts with souls and jivas like us, so that we can uplift ourselves and get a step closer to the ultimate goal of life, which is God realization and the ability to build a connect with God. Okay? That is the second reason. The third one, now this provides souls with an easy basis for devotion. Minds needs a form to focus upon and to connect with. Formless aspect of God is very difficult to worship. Okay? It's very difficult. Now it's giving you a basis. It's come naturally to our mind. See, when we talk about, when we go to find our car in a parking lot, do we go by the name? Okay, am I going to look for a Corolla or a Mercedes or a BMW? We bring the form of that car in our mind, right? We go by form. When we think about somebody, our mother, father, child, kid, whoever, do we go by the name? We bring their form to our mind. So forms are very natural to our mind. And devotion capitalizes on that fact. You just focus on the form. And God has also made it easy by taking on an avatar, because now there are so many leelas associated with their form, right? Even though we haven't seen it, but saints have documented it, how God has looked like and tried to describe as vividly as they possibly can for our benefit. Okay? So form, it makes it easy for our mind to attach and absorb, as opposed to something which is formless. And on the other hand, devotion to the personal form is easy for people to comprehend, simple to perform, and sweet to engage in. Okay, these are the other advantages of doing devotion to the personal form. All right, with that, I'm going to take a bit of a break. Any questions? I know we covered a lot today. Hope it sheds some light on why God descends on earth. Why does he take on a form? And what is the real purpose behind God's descension, as opposed to simply thinking that he's going to slay demons and that's about it, right? When I was a kid, I used to enjoy those fights, but those fights are not the only reason why God descends. Okay, he can just do it like this. Snap of a finger, he can kill everybody if he wants. Okay, let's take some questions now. And
राधे राधे मोनिका जी पूछ रही हैं, do we get premanand by worshipping guru or saint?
Yes, you can. Guru will enable that prema. He will take you closer and closer to God's leelas. Okay, so Guru will take care of it. If you do Guru worship, he will even show you certain leelas of God that you have never heard or, seen basically in any of the TV serials for that matter. So yes, if you do Guru Bhakti, Guru will take care of your devotion to God.
And another question is, since we all know that Krishna and Ram were real gods, then why are these called mythological serials?
I don't know. We should answer why they call it. It's called Itihas Puran.
Thing.
Yeah, it is actually Itihas Puran, and somebody has trivialized it by saying mythology. Myth means something which is false.
False, yeah.
I don't know why it's called mythological. It's actually Itihas Puran. It is history. Okay? It is from a scriptural standpoint, they are Itihas Purans.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So the topic of saints being called God came up, right? In Srimad Bhagavatam also, Shukdev Goswami was referred to as Bhagwan. And even the devotees of Raman Maharshi, they also call him Bhagwan Raman. So does that mean when after we are God realized, we can also be called Bhagwan? Yeah. Because according to the definition of Bhagwan, it having infinite of 6 opulences.
Yeah, see, when somebody will call you Sam Bhagwan, it'll rhyme as well. So sure, when you become God realized, you will carry that title.
But that doesn't mean we are God, right? Yeah, we are.
When you become God realized, right, you get all the powers of God. At that point, see, God is still God, right? It's like I told you that it's like oil. The droplets of oil, if you mix it with water, they still retain their identity. God is still God. He will still have a little delta over you because he keeps that bookkeeping aspect and probably some part of creation with himself as well. But from realization standpoint, you have gotten Satchitananda at that point. You are eternal. You've got the perfect knowledge and you've gotten the perfect bliss, which nobody can snatch away from you. Okay, so let's leave it at that for now. If you still have a doubt, we will wait until we become God realized to get a deeper realization around it.
Okay, what is the difference between Bhakta Vatsal and Bhakta Vashya? When does
Vatsal
God
means-
becomes Bhakta Vatsal, and after that comes Bhakta Vashya, right? So what is that stages?
I'm not sure it is a sequential process. Bhakta Vatsal means that he basically takes care of his bhakt, right?
Yeah,
Takes care of his
I
bhakt.
understood it.
Vatsalya bhav, you know, right? Parental bhav is there. He takes care of his bhakt. But in order to become bhakt Vatsal or Bhakta Vashya, those things take a lot of doing. You have to become proper devotee first. Okay. The best point is to become Patit or Deen. Think of yourself as Deen and Patit, because he's also called Deen Bandhu and Patit Pavan. That is a better strategy, because bhakti, as we keep on progressing, in order to become bhakt, it takes a lot. So better strategy for a devotee is to consider himself Deen and Patit. Okay, in due course of time, when we will become Bhakt, God will automatically become Bhakt Vatsal and Bhakt Vashya for us.
Okay, I understood it this way. Like when we
One
think
question.
that I am God.
Last question, because we have a
No,
lot
no,
of other
I'm
hands. Okay, back and forth. If we have, then you can reserve the question for late. Maybe one more question.
Yeah, if we think I am God's, then the quality of Bhakta, he may reciprocate with quality of Bhakta Vatsal. And when we think God is mine, maybe he reciprocates with the Bhakta Vashya. That's what I mean. That's how I understood it as. I don't know if
Bhakta Vashya means he gets enslaved by love. Okay, so if you are able to shed tears for God and you are willing to show God that I am enslaved by you, I will move like a feather moves in wind. Whatever situation you keep me in, I will just accept it. Then God will become your slave. So God is willing to become our slave, provided we have shown we are willing to become his slave. Because if God becomes slave and we do 400 BC, he will say, stand up, sit down, do this, do that, right? He's also smart. So we need to prove that first, reach that stage, and then he's more than happy to become Bhakta Vashya for us. All right, next one now.
Rahul bhai, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Rahul.
Radhe Radhe. There is a question in the chat from Preeti that did Ravan and others get killed because God wanted to humanize himself? And another correlated question.
Did what? Sorry, I didn't get that. Did what?
Did Ravan and others get killed because God wanted to humanize himself?
Humanize himself, I still didn't get that. I mean, he was doing Nar Leela.
Yeah.
Sure. So he was doing Nar Leela. So there is a difference between Leela and Karam. Maybe I can pick it up in next session. So he's performing an act there, right? And that doesn't mean that he's become any less than God at that point. He still has all his powers. He's still omniscient. He's still all powerful. So humanize, I don't know. I mean, it was part of the Leela itself, but he was divine, right? And then he hid some part of it. Lord Krishna was God in his full form. He did not hide his divinity, right? He started his the journey, right, by doing a jailbreak. Then he killed Putana when he was 6 years old. So he was like in full form. In Ram Avatar, he still hid. He was more in a Nar Leela he was doing. So he started killing demons only when he became a Kishore Avastha, right? That's when he started all those Leelas, when he was holding a Dhanushban. So yeah, he was doing a Nar Leela. Was there a conscious effort to humanize himself? I don't know, but he was God. God is God always.
Can I unmute Preeti because she is the person who asked the question?
Sure. Yeah. Yes, Preeti ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone.
Radhe
Nitin ji, I wanted to ask by the word humanize, so that we feel he's like one of us, and so we emulate him, we get devoted to him more, because none of us likes ill things happening. And these Jai Vijay, Ram, and I mean Ravan, Ravan and others, they were villains in a way. And who likes villainy?
Right.
So probably he wanted the world get rid of them, and that is why just to make, I don't like villainity, you don't like, so we are same. So that way humanizing. I'm
Got
not
it.
able to express well, but
Got it. Yes. So basically, we all have an inherent desire to not have anything bad, right? And they were symbolic of badness and evil, and he finished them, right? So he was a Maryada Purushottam avatar, anyways. So yes, that's part of the Leela that he performs, right? He says that if you are evil or on the side of wicked, you will get annihilated. Yes, very true. In that sense, very true. Even in Bhagavad Gita, right, when Sanjay towards the end, he said, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhar and Yatra Yogeshwar
yes,
Krishna, that wherever Lord
Tatra
Krishna and Dhanurdhar Parth is there, the victory and opulence
is
is
that.
bound to be there. So yes, end of the day, the moral also comes out from that story that you have to be on the side of dharma and subscribe to good values. Otherwise, you will be vanquished. And I think same thing will happen with Kalki Avatar as well, which gets Tanmeji excited these days. So very true. Thank you, Preeti ji. All right. Yes, any other questions? So by the way, tomorrow we are going to touch upon the topic of different avatars of God. Okay. Is there really a difference between any of these that we have see the different avatars that we have? And we will put it in perspective as well. Okay, this is going to be an interesting topic as well. Now that we are talking about God's avatars and dissensions. Okay, let's take a few more hands and then we have about 10 more minutes before we move to our devotional segment and finish our philosophy part. Few more hands.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Nitinji. My question is almost related to the previous speaker. See, you said the realized persons like Ravan and Kumbhakarna takes an avatar during the Rama's Sri Ram's Leela. So does it carry does Ravana carry again karma of his bad acts during that Leelas, or it doesn't carry him?
Leela means they are beyond the karmic bondage.
Okay.
Leela means they are already siddh. Those people can
Okay.
do. When we do our acts, it has a karmic reaction to it. When they
Okay.
do their act, there is no karmic reaction. They are already beyond that.
Okay. Okay.
So when they are the parikas who are that doesn't mean everybody who comes along with they are siddh. Some of them might be work in progress, right? They are VIPs and we are WIPs. So that WIP, VIP combine is always there in every hand, okay? And the work
Okay.
in progress, they are very important, special people who get the privilege to fight with God, right? You know, when
Okay.
Varavatar happened, the Hiranyaksh, how powerful he had become. When this war happened, the Star Wars and all that was nothing in front of it. And it went on for centuries. You know, both were equals, fight amongst the equals. Like Vara was doing this, and then Hiranyaksh was doing this, and all the Devi Devatas and every became nervous. It's like watching an India-Pakistan match. Now who's going to win? Who's going to win? God does all his pastimes. And then after so many centuries, he kept on fighting this, that. And then finally, you know what he does? Vara does? He just taps him on his back of his head and he's dead. So God does all the time pass. Okay. Basically, he gives you money, what do you call that? Full vasuli of your power. Okay. He doesn't want to kill you without giving you a full satisfaction that I did, you know, the best I could. He can't just kill you like that. But then he makes you, you know, feel as if you are equal and you are very powerful. And finally, he'll do like, okay, go now. Same thing he did with these Chanur and all those wrestlers, right? He could have done it like this, but he gives you full satisfaction of fight so that you don't what happened, not an anticlimax kind of a deal. So that is who God is. So okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to share my experience after joining this platform. I started seeing Sri Krishna, Radha Krishna serial. So I feel sometimes like someone should leave me in a place where I can see the whole episodes at a stretch. So that is my feeling. If I don't see an episode a day, I don't get sleep also nowadays. So that's my situation. So I just want to share that.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's interesting. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Lakshmi ji. Okay. Yes. Shyamji, your prerogative. I shouldn't be calling anybody. You need to call.
Thank you so much. Dasoham ji, Radhe Radhe.
Dasoham ji, please. I like your gogs, by the way. But
Yes,
I'm not able to speak to Swamiji, so I'm not able to get the answer for the parrot question, but I think we spoke about it yesterday.
today my question is every god departed his look with his not his body, but Sri Ram ji going with his body in the Vaikuntha. Why did he did?
Why did he go to Vaikuntha with his body? So I don't know, God, he chooses how he wants to close his pastimes. That doesn't make him any more or any less. God still remains God, right? So when they close their pastimes, and for that matter, even some saints, when they close their pastimes, they do it differently. In case of Mirabai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they just merged. Their physical body could not be recovered. In fact, even with Kabir Das ji, his physical body could not be recovered. They just saw flowers and then they started fighting, whether it should go to Hindus or Muslims. But they choose it. We don't have to read too much into it. And it's not a topic to analyze that, okay, why did Krishna not depart with his body or Ram did or other way around? It's God, basically. He chooses it to do a certain way and we just have to go with that. Maybe some of the questions will be answered when we become God realized. We can ask God then, that I really want to know why you choose a certain way to exit this world or close your pastime. But at least I don't have an answer. If you meet Swamiji, you can ask him that.
Yeah, and second question is Narsinga Bhagwan was going with her body or not? I did not see in the serial Ramanand Sagar of Ramayan.
I don't know. I mean, what I have understood about Narsingh Avatar is it was an express avatar. Express avatar means like Ambar Avatar, Narsingh Avatar, they come and they go. They don't stay back for a longer duration like Krishna Avatar or Ram Avatar. So they come for a very specific purpose and then they recede. Now, did he vanish or did he go with his body? I don't know. At least I've not heard that Narsingh Bhagwan, he, retained his body and then vanished. So I think we should focus more on devotion than worrying about how God comes and goes.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you so much, Chitin bhai, for his question answers. We'll move to Tanmay ji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Tanmay ji.
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. Nitin ji, thank you so much. I'm giving a live proof how universe speaks to me. This is the book I ordered a day before yesterday, like on Sunday. It arrived on Monday. I just opened it like a Gita randomly, and I found this page 155, 154, and I am so in like I don't know why I'm such love with the numbers because it is how the universe is communicating with me, and this is a live proof that I somehow discovered, like I haven't read about the Roop Dhyan. I was like so much hating like the sadhana process. I was so much into like knowledge, and knowledge led me to build this love. Love was already existing, but I was doing indirectly a very powerful Roop Dhyan. Like I have created in my family, I have created like सबकी पोजीशन बना दी मैंने, गॉड की भी बना दी, स्वामी जी की भी बना दी, पापा की भी बना दी, माँ की भी बना दी, भाई बहन की भी बना दी, सबकी. और आई एम डूइंग अ रूप ध्यान एंड दिस इज हाउ आई एम फीलिंग लाइक गॉड इज स्पीकिंग एंड दिस इज like group dhyan. This is a tool, like I'm just saying this is so powerful. I'm getting so many messages. This is a powerful roop dhyan, like I don't know.
Got it.
But I have one more point. And I have a very like this thing has started making like मेरा intuition strong करे जा रही है universe. By the blessing of Guruji and God, intuition strong हो रहे हैं and proofs मिल रहे हैं. When we contemplate, first we do श्रवण. श्रवण में बड़ा हेट करता हूँ. श्रवण नहीं, हम 5 सेंसेस से देख रहे हैं. श्रवण तो सिर्फ सुनना हो गया. हम देख रहे हो, फिर कंटेम्पलेट करते हैं ना, जब इतनी सारी चीजें समझ में आती है, इतनी सारी चीजें. इट्स लाइक मेरा एक इंट्यूशन ये है कि ये जो दशावतार है ना, हम स्टिल एक बूम में, हम मटेरियल बूम तो पैरिश होते रहता है, बार बार हम लेते हैं, बट एक स्पिरिचुअली हम एक बूम में जो राधा रानी माँ का है, हम एक वूम में हैं और ये जो कनेक्शन है ना अम्बिलिकल, ये कहीं ना कहीं हम क्या सिर्फ देख लेते हैं, हम उसको रिलेट करने जाएंगे ना अपनी लाइफ में, भगवान हमारे इंटेलेक्ट लेवल पे डिपार्ट मतलब डिसेंड करते हैं और वो ऐसे ऐसे कनेक्शंस देते हैं. आई एम हैविंग दिस, आई नो. एक दिन शायद तक प्रूव कर पाऊंगा नितिन जी. थैंक यू सो मच. योर lessons are so insightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's all Swamiji's grace, the knowledge you're given. But yeah, good. If you're having certain realizations, I would encourage you to document it before it passes away. And then we can have an offline conversation on it as well. So thank you, Tanmay-ji. Okay, let's see. Few more hands are there as well. We have 4 more minutes, by the way, before we get into our devotional segment.
Monica ji,
yeah. Yes, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe, Shanti, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Nitin ji. So sorry, I had someone at the door, so I couldn't continue my question. The follow-up one, कि गुरु की भक्ति करने से भी प्रेमानंद मिलता है, and you said yes, of course. So I sort of wanted to ask an elaborate question, Nitin ji, कि so प्रेमानंद मिलता है वो तो 100% है, because गुरु ही है जो आपको वहां तक पहुंचा सकते हैं. But then when you do रूप ध्यान, तो for example, जैसे स्वामी जी, जैसे आपने पहले भी example दिया था, that you know you can have a different kind of bhavs with कान्हा when you do रूप ध्यान, because माधुर्य भाव होता है, दास भाव होता है, जो भी भाव होता है, right? तो with guru you have certain boundaries, right? But then when you do रूप ध्यान of कान्हा, it is, I mean, आप किसी भी भाव में उनको सोच सकते हैं.
It's true. So my understanding is, again, it could be limited. You can clarify it. Yeah, that's a question I want to technically clarify from Swamiji as well. You do Guru Bhakti, right? It's like you serve Guru. In every scriptures, it is saying you render service unto them. And what they do is they nourish your devotion to God. So they will not only plant the seed, but nourish it and make it a big tree as well, okay, based on the bhav that you are practicing it. And they are the ones who enable higher and higher bhav for you. So if Madhurya bhav is not coming naturally to you, based on your devotion to Guru, he can make that manifest to you as well, though that is the power Guru has. That is how, at least how I understand, okay? So he will fructify that bhav for you. You render service unto the Guru with a Sharanagat Buddhi. That is how at least I understand, but we can clarify it with Swamiji.
Right. Okay. And about the word mythology, it was introduced by Britishers so that they can negate our culture. Right. And there's no Hindi or Sanskrit translation for this word. So please never use this word. और अगर कोई use भी करे तो उसको please correct करें. धन्यवाद.
Mythological, yeah. There was a systematic dismantling of Sanatan Dharma around that time, including a Gurukul Pratha. Yeah, but yeah, it's a cyclical process. It keeps coming back, you know. That is the very nature of these things, you know. What is up comes down and again it comes. So all that stuff, right? Patliputra, Takshakila, all that used to be the you know, the scholarly or literary capitals of the world at that point. So that might come back again. But these are cyclical processes that happen. But yeah, it was unfortunate, you know, some of these things are actually not put in the true credit that it deserves, and they have been referred to as wrong connotations have been attached to those.
Right.
Okay.
And also our university is bringing those universities back, right? Bringing our Takshila and Nalanda back,
Yes.
JK.
So Swamiji's University is going to bring back those old days of glory for sure. I can only imagine when Swamiji puts his mind to something, what the end product would look like, right? You know how thorough he is and how focused he is. So I hope we can live that long to see the results as well. So
thank you, Monica ji. Thank you so much for
But if you're doing seva, you know what? Until we become godless, we'll have to rotate around this only. You know, serve university, serve Swamiji, or serving something around that ecosystem only. So at least that hope is there. Okay. Yes, a few more hands. We can take those.
Sandhya, Radhe Radhe.
Sandhya.
Just a quick follow-up. So we say Vedas are Paurushe, but Itihas is Paurushe.
Itihas is Purushan, not necessarily.
I'm asking, yeah.
No, Itihas is not Purushan. See, all stuff about Smriti and all that stuff is all people have created. This has been documented by sages. Itihas, when we say Mahabharata, who composed it? Vedvyas. Vedvyas is not Purush, right? He's an avatar of God. Right? Ramayana, who created it? Valmiki and Tulsidas, both are saints. So they're not Purusha.
So Itihas is also a portion.
It is also Aparusha. They have been written by sages. See, Aparusha, okay, technicality wise, Aparusha means Vedas are manifested by God. But these have been documented by God realized saints. So from that standpoint, I mean, if you want to call it Aparusha or realized saints are not called Aparusha. They are still in human form, right? But they are realized. So they're not documented by ordinary humans. They are documented by sages who have realized God. So that is how it goes.
So
Or
yeah,
avatar.
my only thing was, why are they categorized differently? Like what, I mean, I just, maybe I will understand it eventually, but at this stage, this question just pops up in my mind at times, what is the reason for giving them separate categories?
There's no reason for that. Vedas are revealed when the creation is done. Leelas happen afterwards. Somebody has to document it, right? So God can get it documented through his avatar or through sages. Shouldn't matter actually. He cannot manifest his Krishna Leela during the time of creation itself, right? That okay, I'm Krishna, and or Bhagavad Gita is also revealed. That is revealed as a manual. Leelas happen after the fact, right? Once the creation is done. And those Leelas, they get documented by sages only. Like Vedavyas, he's Chiranjeevi, he's still alive. And he documented it. And so we don't have, I mean, it's again, when it is documented by a sage, it's as good as being a Porusha, right? It is coming from the depths of realization, not from the depths of material intellect at that point. Now, tomorrow somebody will say Bhakti Shatak is Apaurushaya or is one of our scriptural Sanatan scripture. People can start debating about it as well, right? Bhakti Shatak is Bhakti Shatak. It has come from a realized saint or an avatari, however you want to call it. So it becomes a moot point at that point. Okay, yes, 3 more hands. Are we singing then, Rahul? Are we, I think it's 10:03. We can wrap up. Is there, unless there's a question, maybe one question we can take and then we can move to our devotional segment.
There was a question from Srishti D that there is a question from Srishti D that is it good to share our intuitions and magic that we experience with others, or should we keep it to ourselves?
Intuition and magic. I don't know. People say that, if you have an experience of God, don't share it with anybody, keep it to yourself. Yeah, I mean, it's usually a good practice because it may bring in two things, right? One is pride. That is the reason why they say that, I guess. And second is it may be looked down upon by somebody, not in the proper light. That is the reason people say keep it until you keep on fructifying your knowledge. And then it's very difficult to articulate your realization itself, right? If you can simply digest it and keep proceeding, I think that might be a better thing. But there's no harm if you're not feeling pride about it and you want to inspire somebody else, is how I see that. But ask Swamiji if there's a particular thing in particular you want to discuss and say, is it okay if I discuss it with, people around? He can answer it better.
Yasini ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Yashini.
Radhe Radhe. I actually, while I was going to the Guru Tattva, I heard from Swamiji that I just want to share this one that like I heard from Swamiji, there are 4 principles mentioned in the Vedas, and the Vedas just give the contradictory, principles. So there is the first principle, which is God is greater than Guru. Second principle is God is equal to Guru, and third principle is God is lesser than Guru. So, for example, if God is greater than Guru, then definitely he is the creator of the universe and multiverses rather, and he have other potentialities as well, like as you mentioned, Bhaiya, noting down the karmas and all those. But when it comes to God equals to Guru, that means Swamiji mentioned that once the soul is God realized, he is God-like. So that is the thing. And then third point, where Swamiji mentions that God is lesser than Guru. God is lesser than Guru. That means, Guru is, I'm sorry, just the opposite one. The way around, like God is lesser than Guru, right? Yes. So there he means to say that Sri Krishna even took shelter of a guru. So that means like each and every one needs a guru, even though he is a Bhagwan, he took shelter of guru because it is Apurishya and it will not be able to understand until and unless we serve the guru and like that. And the fourth principle, and Swamiji mentioned that all of these principles comes wrong because the fourth principle is God and Guru is same. That is, God is different, like Guru is not different from God, because he gave an example that, for example, if a 500 rupees note is kept inside an envelope and we just simply take out the note and put it in a different envelope, so it is same like that. So whatever knowledge God has, he bestows that knowledge to the souls once he is God realized. And why God and Guru is same? Because Guru is divine and non-different from God, and he is situated in bliss, and he even does not act out of self-motivation. So that is the reason his actions are inspired, not for self-satisfaction, but for the disciples to bring them
Correct.
to the God. So that is the thing which I wanted to share.
Thank you, Dayashini, I think, for summarizing this thing. Very true. Technically, there's no difference, but from a soul standpoint, our swart gets addressed by a guru. God will not manifest. Guru is the one who works on us, is visible to us, and when we are ready, God simply picks up. It's just like parents reading their girl, and the guy will come and pick her up one day. So Guru is the guy who has worked on the soul throughout, right? So that is why stature of Guru is high. God will say, when you are ready, I'll simply come and pick you up. So Guru has a very, very important place in our life. Okay, he's the one who will basically help us. Our swarth ki jo siddhi kehte hain, that the one who will help us meet our goal. God will simply come. He said, okay, is this antakaran clean? The Guru will say, no, there's still some work to do. God said, all right, wait. Then he'll come, is it clean? Guru will say, yes, it is clean. God said, okay, soul is mine now. So that is how the process unfolds. So Guru is basically, his stature becomes, like Dayashini explained beautifully, he's God realized, so there's no difference as such. But from a soul standpoint, the stature of Guru will always remain higher because he's the one who will work on you. God will directly not work on you. Yes, Kumarji, maybe the last one, and then we get into our devotional segment. I can already see some singers getting ready. Yes,
Jai Shri everyone. So this question about Ram Avatar, right? Why was he a human? Why did he come here as a human? So Ravan was extremely powerful, and using his son, he had captured Indra himself, right? That's why he's called Indrajit, also called Meghnad, right? So he had everything, all the worlds in his control, and he was growing crazier and crazier. And he was a huge Shiv Bhakt. So he used to have big penances, austerities and penances, and to get boon from Shiva. So he did that too. And when Shiva came before him, he said, I need immortality and invincibility, right? So Shiva said, sorry, can't do. Ask for something else. So he said, immortality, I cannot give it. So invincibility, he wanted invincibility against all kinds of foes. He said, well, can't do that either. So try to refine your request. So then Ravana thought hard and said, well, against every powerful being, but he forgot to include humans and monkeys, right? And little did he know that he was going to get caught in that clause, right? And Shiva said, okay, Shiva, as you know, is a very generous giver of boons, and sometimes gives boons to detrimental effect. But of course, he's so good pally with Vishnu, who will take care of things, right? So Ram comes here as a human being, stays under the radar as a human being, even though many of his acts are magical and godly, divine, right? And he pairs up with Anjaneya, Hanuman, and creates magic, right? So that's what it is. Now, the same thing, what happens is Indrajit tries to have a yagna, right? If he finished that yagna, he would become invincible. But they, Rama and Lakshmana get tipped off, and Rama sends Lakshmana to interrupt that yagna and finish him off. So that's the story. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
For adding more commentary and color to the Leela of God. So thank you for sharing that. I learned a few new things today. All right. So I think we can wrap up our discussion today and move on to our devotional segment. Anybody who's willing to? All right, Palji is there. All right, just one hand today.
In the meantime, Jyotiji says that Narasimha Bhagwan ji disappeared for Dasabamji.
Yeah, he disappeared after. That was an express avatar. True.
Yeah.
Came and disappeared after that. Yeah, he did not stay for long because anyway, everybody was very scared looking at him other than Prahlad.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it is
So-
said there is a nursing arti as well. If you get fear, you do that and it takes away the fear. A lot of stories around that. But yeah, thank you, Jyotiji, for sharing that. Okay, so do we have 3 singing today? Akshataji, you want to sing as well?
Akshitaji, Radhe Radhe.
No, I have a question. Radhe Radhe.
Please fill in the feedback tracker.
Nitinji,
Yes, Akshataji.
sorry.
No, please go ahead. I think we were moving to our devotional segment, but if some more of you have questions, please fill in the feedback tracker that is posted, and please do register for Family Camp online if you haven't so far, if you're not coming in person. Yes, Akshataji, please go ahead.
Okay. So it's true that we are all will be there. Our atmas will be there forever, right? So why these Ravanas and all are asking for the boons like immortality or infinity? They have to live for the long. Is it for that particular avatar only they are asking, or
they do that?
Even though souls are.
Why are they asking? The question is, why are they asking for such boons?
No, yeah, because he's a great scholar. Ravana is also a great scholar. He knows that for his Atma, there is no, it can't be destroyed and it will be there forever. Still, he is asking for such boons. So, why it is that? What we have to think?
So they're doing a Leela basically. It is unfolding. If you look at it. So they can ask anything that they want, but God has a hack for everything, right? Brahmaji gives so many boons. Shankarji, Shiv Bhagwan gives so many boons. And then God figures out a way to, get a hack out of that. Like Hiranyakashipu asked for a silver bullet boon, right? I should not be killed by a human or an animal during day or during night, inside the house or outside the house. So many things. And then what did God do? He took an Narsingh avatar. He said, okay, door, you are neither here nor there. You are neither on sky nor on ground. You are on my lap. You are neither being killed by a human or an animal. Now you're neither being killed by any astra. It's my... So those are part of the Leelas. We should not analyze too much. Let's understand they are playing a role to perfection. Right? When the villains come, if you really get terrorized and really develop a hatred sentiment for them, then the purpose of that Leela is served. Okay, that's what happens, right? In movies also, there was a guy who threw a chappal at Pran after watching one scene in the movie. So Pran said, my job is fulfilled. That is what I did that role for. So villains, when they come, let's understand they are just participating in that Leela. Why are they doing certain things? I mean, if it doesn't help our devotion, we should just focus on, okay, it's part of the act. God is anyway going to clean that up. And they try to become so powerful to glorify God. That look, Ravan was so powerful, he had such kind of a boon, but God, this is still, nobody can defeat God. So they come with the purpose of glorifying God, truly, and then it's just part of the Leela. End of the day, we know which side is victorious, right? No matter which Leela we look at. Yes, Akshataji, hopefully that answered your question a little bit, and then we can move to our devotional segment. Are you going to sing or chant or recite a mantra?
Isn't it obvious that we as humans use our intellect, brain, dimag to question God's leelas? Whereas materially, if we see somebody acting, we see कि वो acting कर रहा है, छोड़ दो उसको. But when it comes to God, we know He is a big actor of all. But still we want to convince ourselves कि वो क्यों कर रहे हैं, ऐसा क्यों किया, क्यों नहीं किया, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. But when it comes to actors, we know acting कर रहा है, we know that. Why is that so? Are we trained that way? Are you what is the question behind that?
No, I think it appeals to our intellect to make sense, right? The logical part of our brain asks for explanation for everything, and it gets extended to God also, because are we exposed to this knowledge that God does leelas and they don't have to be at least I was not exposed to this knowledge until I came across Swamiji and then started putting it in perspective. I would be having very skeptical mind around it. Is it really possible? Maybe this is a figment, of somebody's imagination and stuff like that. So that is very natural to our mind. And then when you start understanding the deeper aspects of it and understanding we are insignificant, we can't analyze God through this little bit of buddhi, that humility will bring in the right perspective over time. But unless you get that knowledge, how will we will keep on analyzing it for the rest of our life, right? Why did God did this? We think that God is just like us, right? He can analyze him. We don't understand God is God. If we could understand God's leelas, there would have been no difference between us and God. Complete leelas, right? If we have decoded God's brain, that means we have become God realized. Because we are not, there will be things we'll not understand right now. So that's how it goes.
Well, it's so simple, na? Just to see as it is, just to believe that God is God. Would make life much easier that way.
If it is simple for you, then Kripa has happened. It is simple and yet difficult. Let me tell you that. Okay, it doesn't work that way. There will be people who will remain skeptical even after that. So, because it is becoming very simple for you, then that means Kripa is there. Otherwise, it's simple and yet difficult for people to accept or understand. Okay.
Thank you so much. We have few hands raised, so I do not know how to start.
So who's singing? And no questions. It's only singing from here on. Daswamji, are you going to chant or recite or something? Questions are you can put it in the chat. We are only going to have chantings from here on.
आप मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे बहकूना अब बहकाने से जब प्रेम समझ में डूब गई फिर क्या होगा समझाने से आप मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे राधे राधे
धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much. बहुत मजा आया दासवामी.
Very nice. Beautiful. But you have changed the bhajan. It says tum mere the. Aapne you have put in a lot of respect to Lord Krishna here. Aap mere the. But I think Krishna would love if he remain informal with him. Okay, but good. That was a good improvisation. And I liked your bobs. Okay. Very nice. All right. Who is next then? I see 3 more hands. So yes, Dayashini, go ahead.
Dayashini?
Okay. Radhe Radhe. Am I audible? Just 1 second.
Perfect.
Yes. Am I audible? Okay. Jai Jagannath Kirtan. Okay. जय जगन्नाथ 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 स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ 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 अपना हाथ धरो मम मात जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ मेरी गति मत तेरे हाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ तू ही है आना द्वारकानाथ। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ। डूब रहा हूँ पकड़ो हाथ। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ। जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ। थैंक यू। राधे राधे।
Beautiful, Dyashini. Very nice. Loved it. Melodiously and bhavpurni sing. Loved it as always. Great. Thank you very much. All right. Who's next then? Palji, you're going?
Monika ji, Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे। पायल जी के
Thank you
पहले
for your name.
कॉन्फिडेंस मिस होता है।
Go ahead, please.
तुझे में जान ऐसी मन वृंदावन हो जा। प्राणों में राधे बसे राधे सदा।
Your audio is breaking, Monica ji. Maybe the pitch when it gets high, it breaks. So your audio is not coming very clearly.
I'll do speaker.
Yeah, I think with Zoom, something happens when you raise the pitch, the voice breaks, or some setting is needed, I guess.
It could be my Bluetooth, Nitin ji. Is it good now?
Better. Yeah, it's better.
It could be my Bluetooth. You know what then? Actually, let Payal ji continue and then I'll continue from her.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Payal ji, please go ahead.
Payal ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Okay, so today also I'll attempt one Meera bhajan. मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दिन रैन। मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दिन रैन। राहत की मेरे नैन। राहत की मेरे नैन। अब तो दर्श दो कुंज बिहारी। मनवा है बेचैन। मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दिन रैन। मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दिन रैन। प्रेम की डोरी तुम संग जोड़ी। हमसे तो नाही जाएगी तोड़ी। हे मुरलीधर कृष्ण मुरारी। हे मुरलीधर कृष्ण मुरारी। तनिक नावे चैन। राहत के मेरे नैन। राहत के मेरे नैन। अब तो दर्श दो कुंज बिहारी। मनवा है बेचैन। मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दिन रैन। मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दिन रैन। जन्म जन्म से पंथ निहारो। बोलो किस विध तुमको पुकारो। हे नटनागर हे गिरधारी। हे नटनागर हे गिरधारी। काह न पावे वै। राहत की मेरे नैन। नैन राहत की मेरे नैन, अब तो दरस दो कुंज बिहारी, मनवा है बेचैन, मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दीन रैन, मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दीन रैन, मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दीन रैन, मन मोहन कान्हा विनती करूं दीन रैन. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, very nice. It's the first time I'm hearing this Meera bhajan. Loved it. Where you get it from? So very nice. Beautifully sung like always, Payal ji. Loved it. Very, very nice. All right, Monica ji, are you ready?
Not sure about my voice, Nitij. Is it clear? Any better?
I think it's coming without any break now.
Okay. Radhe, 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 Radhe. किशोरी कुछ ऐसा इंतजाम हो जाए, श्री राधे कुछ ऐसा इंतजाम हो जाए, जुबा पे राधा 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 नाम हो जाए, जुबा पे राधा 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 नाम हो जाए, किशोरी कुछ ऐसा इंतजाम हो जाए, श्री राधे कुछ ऐसा इंतजाम हो जाए, जय राधे राधे श्री राधे, जय राधे राधे श्री राधे, जब गिरते हुए मैंने तेरा नाम लिया है, जब गिरते हुए मैंने तेरा नाम लिया है, गिरने न दिया तूने मुझे थाम लिया है, गिरने न दिया तूने मुझे थाम लिया है, किशोरी कुछ ऐसा इंतजाम हो जाए, श्री राधे कुछ ऐसा इंतजाम हो जाए, जुबा पे राधा 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 नाम हो जाए, जुबा पे राधा 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 नाम हो जाए, जय राधे राधे श्री राधे, जय राधे राधे श्री राधे, राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe, very nice. Beautiful. It was a tough bhajan. Is it a? I'm hearing the bhajans for the first time, so beautiful. You can't sum it up in words. I'm sure some.
Last time ना जब when Monica ji sang वो गाना ना तेरी लगन लागी, तब I was singing same song. आज सुबह से मेरे जहन में गाना घूम रहा था, सुबह से I do not know why. I tried thought कि गाऊं, but you know Krishna is great. हम सोच रहे थे, उसने कहा let's do it. So trust you me, since morning में सुबह से मैं इसको zooming हो रहा था, गुनगुना रहा था मैं, गुनगुना, and suddenly it's out now. So that's how it is. So I can truly believe that वो आसपास ही है भाई, मतलब कहीं नहीं है वो. It's how you believe it, take it. It's all up to you. Thank you so much, Monica ji.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Beautiful singing and so much of devotion and bhav, so palpable. Very nice. It reminds me of that Swamiji says that here, right? What is that? दौलत मिली है इश्क की अब और क्या मिले, वो चीज मिल गई है जिससे खुदा मिले.
Wow, wow, wow. So true. It is. Yes.
Very
कुछ
nice.
चाहिए नहीं. That's what we
Very
wanted.
nice. Yeah.
It's all here.
Amazing, outstanding, loved every bit of it. So thank you, everybody. You make my day every day. So thank you for your participation and the beautiful devotional bhajans towards the end. We get a good mix, right? Overdose of philosophy and then the bhajan ras as well. So which is very nice. Thank
जी
you.
सोचिए आप लोग यूएस में हैं, इसके बाद यू गो ऑफ टू स्लीप. हम भारतीय हैं जो वी आर ब्लेस्ड टू बी इन born in this country. We get the entire day to be in the same zone. समझ में क्या कर रहा हूं आपसे? So we are there the entire day. मतलब उसी में हम घूमते रहते हैं. And we do our work thinking all those things. It's really मतलब I can't anything more beyond that. That's what we all wanted. इसी में रहते हैं दिन भर. मजा आता है.
See, it's such a beautiful start to your day, right? And when we go to sleep, it's like with good consciousness, we go to sleep.
Yes, true that, yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's the best thing that happens, during the daytime throughout the day. So very nice.
So I thank God the day I accidentally clicked the WhatsApp that ad, and I thank God literally कि जो होता अच्छा होता है. And since then I'm glued to it. As I always say, I thought it's a couple of months affair कि 18 अध्याय है, श्लोक है, पढ़ लेंगे खत्म हो जाएगा. But now I want कि चलता ही रहे, लोग आते रहे जाते रहे और ये सिलसिला जारी रहे. मतलब it should not end now.
चलता
We have
रहेगा.
few. It's really, I can't explain the word, but it is truly a lifetime thing to have it. Trust you me if you can. We should all call our friends, family. So just be a part of it, and then you are there. What does you want? Nothing.
Very, very true. Right? Maharaj Ji has picked together all of us from different parts and facilitated this beautiful satsang for us. So that much I can. Yes, Rahul, you wanted to say something?
There is an interesting comment from Ajit ji that Nitin ji, you are following Lord Krishna, Payal ji is following Mirabai, Monica ji is following Radha ji, and we are enjoying the competition among all of them as gopis.
That's a good one, Ajit ji.
Love to be gopis.
Very nice. I think we all have our seats reserved in Pushpa Praman, okay, one of these days. So the plane would be the same. Very nice.
Same place, same journey, same Golok, I guess. No second thoughts.
Very
Monica
true.
ji, you had your hand raised. Something?
Yes.
Something.
मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ श्याम जी कि बेस्ट ऑफ बोथ वर्ल्ड्स, राइट? आप लोग की शुरुआत ऐसे होती है, होते ऐसे हैं, बिकॉज भागवत गीता के बाद आई एम 100% श्योर कोई सोने नहीं चले जाता है. मतलब वी आर सो, हम जागे हुए रहते हैं, राइट? एंड माय टाइम विद मी टाइम विद कृष्ण, राधे कृष्ण स्टार्ट्स नाउ. तो वो पूरा टाइम. एंड देन विद गीता क्लासेस आई थिंक वी आर ऑल गोइंग टू ग्रो ओल्ड एंड देन गो टू गोलोक स्ट्रेट. तब तक चलेगी क्लास.
बिल्कुल ठीक.
Looks like fourth chapter हमारा start हो जाएगा. We'll start with the fourth chapter very soon now. And one shloka like we do, but we never know when we will take a detour, okay? So we'll let it organically flow. Krishna has his own plans.
Absolutely.
But we'll get back on our track with our fourth chapter, one verse a day, and continue with that journey. And in between, detours will happen because sometimes things come. It's like for me, I feel we have to bring this also, that also, and let it just organically evolve as it does. So, but yeah, we'll get back to our rhythm of one verse a day as well. But thank you again for your enthusiastic participation. And I was saying you guys spare 60 minutes of the day, which is more than 60 minutes, which is a lot of time. So it's an added responsibility for me to make it, worth it for you, with all the knowledge that I can gather from Swamiji, Maharaj Ji, and then this beautiful segment that happens towards the end. So amazing, all of it. All right, any other things, last words or something? If not, then okay, let's have a wonderful rest of your evening and great rest of your day. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We will try to conclude this topic because day after we will not have a session. I'm just letting you know because I'll be traveling. Okay, so tomorrow we'll try.
Calling.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting some of you in person. So yeah.
Same here.
Thank you, everybody.